Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Miles Montgomery, and I'm a digital content producer at Atlanta News First. Now, joining us today, we have a very, very special guest. Her name is Demetria Obilor. She is a former TV reporter and an incredible TV personality at the TV show Black Girl Stuff on Revolt TV. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for taking the time, Miles. It's great to be here. And yes, I used to do the news. What about it? No,
Yes,
like,
you. Where did you get your first start?
oh my goodness.
What inspired you to get into journalism?
I just had to look at the things that I was interested in. I mean, I love sports too. And I hosted a sports podcast for some time this past year and this year. And it was fantastic, but I feel like I'm more of a mental athlete, if that's fair to say. So I was on the debate team, forensics, all of that fun stuff. And I love presentation. And I thought about all of the things that I like to do and what careers housed them. And I felt like TV was perfect for me. So I got my degree, my journalism degree at the University of Kansas, Sul Rock Chalk, National
Okay.
Camp Basketball. What you know about that? Yeah. But that inspired me. Just also Lil Wayne, I love that you brought that up because music is a huge part of my life as well. And I feel like with journalism, there are those tributaries. You could go off into sports writing, music writing,
Yes.
or do it all. But people always get surprised when I say like who inspired me. And I always feel like Jay-Z and like
Okay.
Nicole's, the Drakes, the Waynes, the Nas's. I mean,
Okay.
it's because of the lyricism and just the grind and the drive. And I feel like you need that in that career. So while it might seem like, whoa, out of left field, it's like, no, Lil Wayne inspired me too.
Absolutely.
He's in my top five.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. 90s baby right here.
Oh yeah, you know it. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Now you grew up in Kansas City.
Yes.
Okay. And then you
He's
moved
also
to
killing it. Got the cheese red on for you.
okay. Okay. And then you moved
Wait, come now, Mahomes is the next Brady, if that's fair to say.
um
Yeah, he is. Okay, hold on now.
okay.
I'll put up with the Mahoney hate. Not right now.
Oh no, no, no. There's no hate. He's great, but
Oh, come on. Now, I love Brady. Brady is the GOAT, goated all the way. I know people have their little spats with Brady, but I mean, Mahomes, I mean, come on. That kid is
Mahomes
golden kid. Put cheese
Mahomes
on
is
the
the
map.
next generation.
Okay. Well,
Absolutely.
I like that because everybody should have their own legacy. I don't like saying that somebody's the next somebody, but I just feel like in sports, if Brady's the GOAT and we're talking about GOATs, I feel like everybody aspires to be on that level. So,
Yeah, definitely. Definitely deserves his flowers for everything he's done.
oh, yeah.
Now, I was gonna say, what inspired you to get into sports?
Oh, man. I did, although I'm a mental athlete, I did grow up playing sports. So I ran cross country in high school, and I've always had this healthy appetite for competition. I'm Nigerian. I grew up watching football, soccer, right? World Cup going on right now. So it's a big part of my household, and I love it. I feel like I wish I could have been like a wide receiver in the NFL. It's just so exhilarating. Football is my favorite sport, and I like it. And I feel like when I get into the realm, I try to bring something else out of the athletes. I feel like I could just regurgitate all of your stats back, and I think there's definitely something to be said about people who can memorize all of that. But for me, I want to get that personality out of these athletes.
Okay.
And find that familiar ground with the bases. So I did this awesome interview with Derrick Henry just
Right.
earlier this year. And it was so much fun because we were talking about our top five and we were talking about, Pokemon and all of these kinds of 90s nostalgia things. And I feel like that really helped him connect with his audience in a totally different way than you normally see him.
Right, right. That was pretty cool. Can you describe what that Super Bowl experience was like for you?
I mean, it was insane. I'd never been to Radio Row before. And so, I mean, it was just go, go, go. And I love that. I'm working in the news. I've worked as a television anchor. It was the midday anchor in Dallas, but I also did the morning show. And anybody who watches morning TV, it's coming on at like 4 a.m., 4:30. You're waking up at like 2:45. That was me for like 6 years. And so you're used to those high energy situations. And I love it. And that's how Radio Row was. So I'm like, okay, I'm back in my element. It's like, okay, let me grab this guy. Let me grab
Right.
this. They're like, oh, I don't think we can get Travis Kelce. I'm like, I'm going to try anyway. He's like, no, I got to go. I'm like, okay, but I tried. It's just kind of fun. It's a great atmosphere. And I mean, it's just a great introduction to sports journalism. And I have so much respect for the awesome journalists that come out of that field.
Absolutely. That was a pretty amazing experience for you to have.
It was
Now,
so cool out in LA. Oh yeah, and they treated us real nice. They closed down Universal Studios for all of the
Wow.
Oh my gosh, yes, it was like my childhood dream, my fantasy. All of the food. I mean, there were no lines. It was amazing. They treated us really well. It's like every time the Super Bowl's happen, it needs to be in LA. Oh,
Nice weather too. Oh
yeah, oh
man.
yeah, perfect.
Now you did have experience as a TV reporter in Dallas. Can you talk about that as
Well,
well?
yeah.
The traffic.
Yes, I was a traffic anchor. My title was ensemble anchor because I did so much. So I did the morning traffic. That's the traffic anchor bit. But I also did social media reporting. So we would talk about the trending topics. And from that, I was able to create lots of fun viral material. One that comes to mind was an Ariana Grande song. I was like, hold
Oh
up.
yeah.
I'm like, hold on, this sounds like a Soulja Boy song. And so I put it out there, the video, Soulja Boy got a hold of it, and it's just going crazy. Everybody's, it's being featured in all of these hip hop blogs and stuff. It was so much fun. And then also I was the midday anchor, and that was really crazy. I mean, we break serious news in Dallas.
Right.
Oh my gosh, the national stories that come out of Texas. I mean, I was remembering being on the news desk, and we were covering a tragic story of a Southwest Airlines incident where a woman unfortunately died after a window broke and she was being sucked up. So, I mean, it could be lighthearted, but it can also get very serious, and you have to be well versed in all of that. And while I was in Dallas, I mean, that's what was happening with the case of Amber Geiger, the ex-Dallas cop who killed Botham Jean, saying that she, mistakenly entered an apartment, thought that it was hers, and it was actually not her apartment. So, I mean, there are a lot of real serious stories that come out of that area. So, you got to do everything. And then, of course, we hosted, I hosted a digital show right after the morning broadcast. It was called I Am Still Up. And so we would talk about a lot of those. And so you'd get this commentary from anchors that you normally would never see, because journalists are supposed to report the news, not necessarily give their opinion on it. But that was an outlet for us to do that. And it was received really well by our audience.
Okay. No, I want to get back to the traffic reporting. Because I'm from New England, we have a very thick accent, Boston accent. So for the people that don't know how to use, for the people that don't know how to use their blinkers, yeah, like what can you say to that?
Oh my gosh. Well, they call me Traffic Bay. All right. I earned that title in Las Vegas when I was working as a traffic anchor there. And you need to get it together. All right. Because I put all sorts of advice out there. There are no excuses. The people who get on my nerves are the ones who don't know how to, what is it? It's the right turners who aren't yielding to U turners who have the green left turn. I know that's a lot. It's a little complicated. You got to go to my Instagram. I break it all down. It's
Okay.
people all hot and bothered.
Okay. Okay. Now let me get into Black girl stuff.
Okay.
Let's talk about how this incredible opportunity opened up for you.
Oh my gosh, yes. I was in Dallas and I had the option to renew my contract. And for me, I really wanted to branch out and expand my portfolio, because at that point I had been doing the news for, oh my gosh, like almost 10 years. I mean, ever since I left KU, I mean, my first job on television was in Kansas City, Missouri, while I was working behind the scenes at the NBC affiliate. And then I got promoted to morning traffic. So, I mean, like right out of college. And I just, for me, I'm like, I would love to do entertainment. I would love to do sports. And so you kind of have to be able to showcase that in your reels. And so I'm like, okay, now's the time. Let's try some new things. And so this opportunity came upon me after the pandemic, to be a part of Black Girl Stuff. And so I auditioned for it. And it's a great opportunity because we get to talk about a lot of things that are relevant to millennial and Gen Z audiences. I mean, the whole show is based around those demographics. And so we're talking about things that you normally wouldn't see on television. I mean, we talk about important social issues, pink collar topics, but then also how do we navigate relationships? I mean, that's really important. And we get really personal. And I think people want to see that from their personalities now. They want to know who they're getting their information from. And I think it's provided an excellent opportunity for me to once again connect with my audience and give them the real Demetria, as I've always done, but in a new lens.
Okay, and I was gonna say, how does your news experience help you with connecting with your audience and connect you with the transition to getting on this show?
I think it's important that when you're doing talk TV, that what you're saying is still rooted and based in credibility. Okay, I've never been the kind of person to just spout off talking about, for example, we've spoken about Black maternal mortality rates. And I would never just go off and just start saying things without doing proper research. And I think that's the base of me as a journalist. And so it's coming from a place, it's of information, it's an informed opinion that I'm giving. And I think that's so important because I would never want to be the kind of person to just give you incorrect statistics and try to misinform people. I feel like we see a lot of that as people are just rushing to report things now, and that's totally unacceptable. And I think any real journalist would rather take the time, study and research something thoroughly, and then give you a real credible opinion about something. And that's very important to me, especially being a millennial, because I feel like these other generations that have come before us, I mean, you gotta prove it to them. You gotta prove you are who you say you are. And if you say that you're a credible person, then show us. And that's what
Right.
I definitely do every day.
Right. And I mean, you're on the show with some other great co-hosts.
We come from totally different backgrounds. I'm the only journalist on the show. Tori has a very interesting background in music. Bree, I mean, she's an actress. I mean, Akila, she comes up from the business world. And so you're getting these different perspectives, which I think is really important when we're talking about this particular demographic, when we're talking about issues impacting Black women. It's important to get that variety of opinions. Yeah.
You had an experience where there was sadly a person who made a negative comment about you and it went viral. I remember when that happened. Can you talk about that from your perspective?
Oh, yeah. All right. So, yeah, when I was working in Dallas, Texas, basically when I just started my tenure there was a woman who said that I looked like a size 16, 18 trying to fit into a size 6, 8. And working on television, especially someone who started their career, we're rocking their natural hair. I mean, you hear all sorts of hateful things. Anything that's outside the norm, I mean, you're going to be targeted, criticized. And so I have a tough skin, and I'm from Kansas City. So we're just built that way. I'm from Missouri, the show me state. Okay, look it
Okay.
up. But in all seriousness, I don't respond to a lot of that kind of negativity, right? Those baseless criticisms that are rooted in, racism and hatred. I really try to avoid them. But what made me respond was that so many people were coming out in solidarity with me and standing in love with me. And they just showing love. I didn't even have to defend myself. These people were doing it. Chance the Rapper got a hold of the tweet, and that was the catalyst truly that caused everything to go viral globally, viral actually. And I feel like it was a teaching lesson for a lot of people, a teaching moment. I mean, I know cancel culture is really big, and some people certainly deserve to be canceled, but I don't think everybody does. And I think there are a lot of people who don't realize how far their words go when they're just online thinking that they can say whatever they want to say about people. And I just think it was a moment for us to reflect and see the double standards and how it can be very harmful to people. Because there's some people who come to me when I'm at these journalism conferences and say, Demetria, do you really think I can be a journalist rocking my hair like this? Do you think that I'm too big to be on TV? I mean, these are real dilemmas that people have before entering the field of journalism or anything in the media, because that's what's not been accepted for so long. And so for me, I'm like, I'll be the punching bag because I feel safe in my skin, and I'm going to keep marching forward and hopefully blazing a path that was really created by people who walked before me. I wouldn't even be here if there weren't people who said, hey, I'm going to be Black and be on television. I'm going to wear my hair natural on television. I'm not the first person to do it, but I'm damn sure somebody who's done it and stood by it and said, you know what? I don't care what anybody says. This is naturally who I am. This is my natural body. And if you got a problem with it, like I said back then, you can always change the channel respectfully.
And now I want to also mention, what advice can you give to young people, young journalists who also go through something very similar to that?
Wow. I mean, this is a very subjective business. All right. I learned that when I was in journalism school. This is a degree that you can study, you can meet the standards and deliver them perfectly. But just because your professor doesn't like the story that you chose, even though you delivered it perfectly, you can still get a bad grade. So that tells you everything that you need to know right off the bat. I mean, there are going to be people who don't like you just because of what you look like. I've had people say, oh, I can't watch her on television. Hair like that looks like it can't be properly cleaned. So I've got to fast forward every time I see her. I've gotten these messages while I'm on the anchor desk, right? Because we have to keep a hold of any breaking news. I mean, I'm on the anchor desk delivering the news. We've got like a minute break or something, a SOT or something like that. And I look down and you see this nasty message and it's like, you got to keep performing. So you're going to have to develop that tough skin and know that it's coming for you. And I'm not the only person who's had nasty things said about them. And I'm far from the last. It's going to keep happening, but will you thrive? Will you keep going, or will you succumb to this negativity? You shouldn't, right? And you've got to power through. And I'm just grateful for my upbringing. Like I told you, my dad's Nigerian. I grew up, my brothers were all kind of rough, and we're from Kansas City, like I
Yep.
told you. So it's just, you know what I mean? I'm ready for it. We used to grow up just making fun of each other. We called it dozens. And so when I see these comments, I'm like, whatever, right? But do you know why I can say that? Because I take my job so seriously, and I want to be the best at my job. So when I talk about that healthy competition, I want to be the best. So when I started off doing traffic, I want to be the best. All right. Ask about me when you come to Las Vegas. Nobody was ever late to work watching Demetria Obilor's
Oh,
traffic.
of course, I
I'm
can
not
imagine.
playing with you.
No, I can only imagine.
I was
You
my
have
whole
this.
thing out here. I was doing all sorts of things, getting those traffic lights sped up so people wouldn't be late to work. There's so many people who had to walk and sacrifice their dreams, right? Their lives, so that I could dream one day, this young girl from Kansas City, of saying, I want to be on television. And that actually being a dream, well, that can be actualized, right? I mean, that comes from so many other people. I couldn't even name them all. But they're amazing people who have broken barriers. I think people are often surprised when I don't name off a famous journalist when I say who inspires me. And I name my hip hop artist, my lyricist, J. Cole. We talk about Friday Night Lights, that mixtape. Oh my gosh, Blow Up. I was just listening to that before I got on this
Okay,
call with you. So, I mean, it just makes you feel good. It's like these are people who are at the top of their game, and then you hear the hustle that went into it. And I love that. I love it. It just keeps me going. It just gets me fired up. So
that's good, man. I feel the same way about them. I mean, Ti is one of my favorites all time.
yeah,
Ludacris. I
yes,
mean,
yeah, get.
uh,
Oh my God, I'm in the gym still. I'm like, yes, get it. No excuses. And Ludacris is so talented. How he came in the game. That was one of the first albums that I ever asked my mom for my birthday, back for the first time.
wow,
Oh, them up.
man.
And Atlanta is the perfect place. I mean, you have to respect Atlanta, everything that it's contributed to when it comes to music. Oh my God, it's so crazy. I feel like even Atlanta doesn't get its due credit when it comes to the just icons that it's generated. Oh my God,
Absolutely.
the dream? What? What?
No, I know. An Outcast, Goody Mob, Dungeon
Outcast,
Family.
Egos, Little Baby. You come on, man. I moved to Atlanta for the show, and it's been amazing.
So you've
I'm
been here how many months?
I've been here since July.
Oh, wow.
So pretty short. I know I'm getting to experience. I experienced that hot summer, and now I'm getting this nice cool weather that I'm so grateful for. But it's amazing. I lived in Dallas for some time, and so just being in the southern region, there's just so much history, the people, and like I said, I mean, just there's that southern hospitality,
Of
right?
course, of course.
And it really is. And so I'm really grateful to the people who've received me so well. And it's just amazing to see what Atlanta is doing. I mean, truly another just Hollywood locale. I feel like a lot of children and kids these days feel this pressure that if they don't get into this elite institution, that they're going to be failures in life. And that is so
Right.
not true. When I go back and like I've spoken at my high school, I've had kids come to me and like they're worried about their SAT scores and stuff. And I understand that's valid, but it's not the end of the world if you didn't get a perfect score on your SATs, right? It's really not. I mean, you get to college, you get in, and if you really just have to have that Ivy League on your resume, maybe you get it in your master's program, something like that. But you don't have to have that. There are great schools, and you can do. It's all about your drive. So for you,
Right.
that rejection letter, for me, fire burning all the
That's
time in
good.
Aries life.
That's good. That's good. Now, before we let you go, we want to just get into the show a little bit more. What is the process in terms of inviting guests on the show or different topics you guys want to talk about?
Well, a lot of that is handled by the producers. We definitely, as hosts, get some input to things and just kind of cultivate this dream list, I guess, of people to come on the show, because it is a new show. And when you're dealing with these A-list celebrities and stuff, they're like, I don't know know who those people are. I may not get on there. And so we have to create this environment that is welcoming. And I feel like we definitely hit the ball out of the park when we had our episode with Tamar Braxton and August Alsina. I mean, he gave us these huge kudos saying, I mean, thank you so much. This is the best interview I've ever done because he felt safe. A lot of these people, you know, don't want all of their dirty laundry just hanging out, people reaching for the low hanging fruit. And we didn't do that. I mean, it's not that kind of environment. We want people to feel safe and at home. And that's the product that we're cultivating when it comes to the guest side. When it comes to the topics, our producers are looking for things that a lot of the Gen Z audience is interested in. And that, you know, the water hole chatter, evergreen topics, because it is a weekly show right now. And like I said, I mean, these are evergreen issues. If we're talking about maternal mortality rates, if we're talking about the pay gap when it comes to women versus men, and then we can even stratify that even more and get into Black women and such. And then also talking about relationships and friendships, because that makes up a huge part of our lives as well and deserves some time on air. And it's been really popular and interesting. Some of our perspectives. I mean, me as a TV anchor, like, I mean, you don't always get to hear about my love life and what I'm willing to share. But so I'm giving it now a little, just, you know, give a little tidbits there, and people appreciate it. And I think I've created, and the show has created, a forum where people feel comfortable discussing these sometimes taboo subjects, and it's been really fun because I feel like that's what is really popular on Instagram. So we're just kind of keeping our, you know, finger on the pulse of things and
Right.
going from there.
That's good. Well, thank you very much for joining us. If you want any more information on this interview, please visit atlantanewsfirst.com. Thank you.
Thank you so much.